All too often, the day's big headlines are drowned out by President Trump, and one of those important stories is the recovery efforts along the Florida Panhandle in the wake of Hurricane Michael. You remember, I think it was, who was the man in the Oval Office going on and on? Kanye?
Yeah.
Who was it? Yeah, while this was all going on. Louis Bergdorf reports on some of the hardest hit areas for a first-hand look at the aftermath.
At daybreak, we drive south down an apocalyptic Highway 98. Timber and steel lay twisted across the stark landscape. We pass Tyndall Air Force Base, home of the F-22 Raptor, its hangar in ruins. We arrive at Mexico Beach to find residents already there to salvage what little remains.
Yeah, it's standing, but it's destroyed inside, and just trying to get out what we can that we can't replace.
Realizing that the door had blown in and the roof had come off and the windows had blown out, so stuff went down the street.
This is where you live with your kids and your family.
Because, their favorite park was down the street, and it's gone, and it's just hard.
Did you ever imagine that this was...
No, I wouldn't imagine it would ever happen in my lifetime, but it has, and you deal with it. And you keep smiling, you think, the good Lord, well, I still got my life and I got my family.
We look around and feel for our friends. There's disaster everywhere you see. Things can be replaced. People can't.
It is horrible, the devastation that I've seen here, but the people, wow, amazing.
Everybody's so positive here. What
we're
is it?
Blessed. We're standing, we're alive, we're not crushed under one of those houses up there.
What we're seeing right now is a lot of minor injuries, trauma injuries, cuts, scrapes, stuff like that. We're seeing some injuries. People have not sought treatment, so now the injuries are infected.
75% of the town is completely gone. Most of these people out here, they don't even know what to do next. And we're trying as best as we can to give them shelter and give them food, give them water, and make sure that they're safe. Communication is still an issue. There's a lot of running 4 or 5 streets down that pretty much hand deliver messages to each other for everything that's going on.
We're doing well. We have good people on hand. We will rebuild going forward.
Tom, we're here in a clinic in Panama City. What does AmeriCares need to do to make this effort a success?
There's an amazing gap between the needs and the availability of healthcare in this region. The hospitals are mostly closed. This clinic that we're standing in is one of the only free clinics that people can come to and pay nothing for healthcare and nothing for medicine. This is an incredibly important clinic for people who have nothing and who've lost everything.
No lights. So what are the needs here in this community so hard hit by the hurricane?
Most of the medicines we're feeling at the moment is people that have lost their medicines in the hurricane.
A lot of people have just, their medications have just blown away, literally.
You're all part of this, right? It's your community.
It's pulled us all together so well. In a week, the recovery's fantastic. I'm falling apart right now, but I've survived. My house is fine. My kids' roofs are off, but we put tarps on them. The insurance company's coming tomorrow. We're gonna make it.
We head north to the city of Mariana, where we find a resilient community coming together over a hot meal. Many of the residents here were trapped for days by downed trees.
The roof, it fell in and it cut my arm and it lacerated it. I didn't even go to the hospital that day because the trees was had me blocked in.
Let me see. How's it working?
It's working.
It's working. Fingers are working. So you cut the tendon up here, the triceps.
Yes, sir.
What are you going to do with that piece of metal when you see it, when you get home? Beat it up
yes,
with a hammer?
Yes, sir.
Good.
You've had thousands of people come through here. That's thousands of lives that you've impacted.
Absolutely. I mean, I shed a lot of tears at night. I try to hide it during the day when people come up to me and, try to, set their emotions. It's hard to see somebody else go without nothing, man. And a lot of people here don't have nothing.
Our classmate put on Facebook that Bodine had a wheelbarrow and that he was up here cooking.
He was cooking in a wheelbarrow.
He was cooking in an actual wheelbarrow, and I was just like, oh my God. So we came, my daughter been serving every day, and I don't care who drives up, what you drive up in, come up here and get a free plate.
Having people like you, having you around is a blessing.
That's all I want to do is be a blessing to somebody. That's it. We thank y'all for coming and listening to us little town folk. It mean a lot. I mean, everybody forgot about us. We need this. Our community need this. Nobody know about Marianna, Florida. Nobody, but now they do.
And Dr. Dave Campbell, who also reported in that piece, joins us now, along with Lewis, who did a great job. Yeah. It's good to have you here today. It's staggering what you all saw.
And Dave, you know, when you called me from, you know, basically my backyard, you said this was the worst hurricane you've ever seen, with the exception of maybe as bad as Andrew. You're saying that as a guy that is a Florida native and have lived there almost 6 decades.
Through Andrew, through all the other hurricanes that have come through, and to see a small area like Mexico Beach devastated, and knowing that that area of the Panhandle is very highly concentrated poverty. Lots of people have no insurance. There are lots of underprivileged people with Medicaid cost sharing, which is almost like not having insurance if you have no money.
Who was giving out the medicine? That clinic?
That was a church-based group that AmeriCares was able to connect with. AmeriCares is a big NGO, humanitarian aid relief company. But what's most impressive about the Panhandle is all of that relief that we saw was church-based.
Willie?
You know, I think the big wake-up call for a lot of us were those first morning after pictures from the drones that traveled over Mexico Beach, and you said, my gosh, it looks like a nuclear bomb dropped there. But then I listened to your interviews and Lewis's interviews, and the optimism and the gratitude and the silver linings they found, that at least they have themselves and their health and their families. I have to imagine that's the only thing that gets you through on day one going forward.
The sense of community that we found with blacks and whites and browns and rich people and poor people coming together over a hot barbecue grill to cook food that had been brought in by others. They brought the food in from the freezers because the food was going bad, and the lines of individuals coming to get a hot meal was staggering.
I've got to say, when I was in Mississippi after Katrina, I was shocked that while the government was letting everybody down, not shocked, I actually was surprised and thrilled to see the churches all stepped in a huge way. They weren't. It didn't matter what denomination it was. It didn't mean what color the people in the church were. They all came together and were incredible relief. Sounds like the same thing going on here.
You know, I'm a Southern boy, but you know, there's something about what I just saw, the power of community in a time of crisis. The South presents all sorts of trouble, but it's also, it's a kernel of what the country can be. But I want to ask you a question. As we saw human beings joining together to respond to the crisis, did you see the presence of the federal government anywhere? Were they around?
Some. FEMA was there, and we had, in the concentrated Mexico Beach area, the federal government was there. We had the wonderful opportunity to interview Mayor Gillum from Tallahassee. A stalwart defendant of those areas in the Panhandle, and his presence really brought a lot of people together down there. He was out in the field helping out, and I found that the combination of the state, the federal, and the churches was really astounding.
And we'll be covering this more and hear from that. Was part of your district?
It was. I mean, at Tyndall, to see Tyndall, all of Tyndall destroyed, actually causes a real problem as far as our military goes. But the human suffering, it's just beyond words. I mean, but again, see those people coming together the way they did. It is so inspiring, and what a message for all of us this morning.
Dr. Dave Campbell, thank you very much.